Om Vasudevasudam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Namaskaram, Hari Om to all. Welcome. Today we have Sri Vivek Gupta, our fifth speaker in our 8-speaker spiritual discourse e-series, Prabodhanashtakams by the Guruvayurappan Temple of Brampton. For over 2 years, Sri Vivek lived and studied Vedanta under the guidance of Swami Tejamayananda in Chinmay Mission's Monastery and Vedanta Institute, Sandipani Sadhanalaya in India. Discovering the only purpose of life is to be independently joyous, and with an intense love for Bhagavan Narayana, Vivek Ji continues to explore this purpose by sharing the same with others. For over the last 10 years, Vivek Ji's unifying and universal vision has led him to communities and organizations all around the world, including the Pentagon and Amazon, to name a few well-known establishments. Sri Vivek is the resident teacher of Chinmaya Mission Niagara and Deputy Director of Chinmaya Yuva Kendra West, a wing of the organization dedicated to empowering youth and young adults. Today's topic is Vedantic Secrets of Success, and Vivek Ji will explore the keys to perpetual betterment which we can always apply to our lives. This session will then be followed by a short guided imagery and then questions after. So a few audience housekeeping announcements. Please keep your microphones on mute always throughout the discourse. And cameras being on is preferable for this session, please, as Vivek Ji would love to see his audience. Any questions you may have will be addressed after Vivek Ji finishes his session and guided imagery. If you are on the Zoom platform and have questions, please type them in your chat room in Zoom, and I will facilitate these questions with Vivek Ji. And those who are on the Facebook Live platform, please address them in the comments page, and I will also felicitate those questions as well to him. Now I am passing the floor on to Vivek Ji. Vivek Ji, my humble pranams, Koti pranams, and gratitude to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Smita, and all our organizers. Before I begin formally, there's a significant difference between physical distancing and social distancing. We keep using this word social distancing when what we need is physical distancing. Yes? This line is being blurred, and this is why Smita shared, and I'm sharing too. When you turn your cameras on, there's much more of a sense of community. And if you disagree with me, then I'll just turn my camera off. And then for the next 60 minutes, I'll just organize my library and speak to you at the same time, as you can't see what I'm doing. Right? It's quite different. And you know I'm teasing you. So with that, we'll chant Om once, and I'll begin. Narayana. Hari Om, and greetings from Niagara Falls. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th skanda, or the 8th section, there's a focal point, and that is the birth of Bhagavan Vamana and his interactions with Raja Bali. See, I know most of you are from Kerala, so you like to hear these kinds of details. Hiranyakashipu was infuriated by Bhagavan Narayana's destruction of his brother, Hiranyaksha. And he was traveling the multiverse trying to find Bhagwan Narayana. And Bhagwan Narayana, as if, was intimidated. So what he did was make himself anima. Anima means you become the size of an atom. He became very small. And he went through the nose of Hiranyakashipu and entered his heart. And the reason he did this, because he knew Hiranyakashipu would never look in his own heart for Bhagwan Narayana. And the implication of this is that an extrovert never looks inside for success, are always looking outside for success. Do you agree? We do. Whenever we think of success, it tends to be about position. The seat you have on an airplane. The people at the front are more successful, correct? The people near the toilet are less successful. That's where they put families with infants in the back. I know, we've been traveling like this for 3 years. Or possession. Does your car cost less than 10,000? Or is it 50,000? Or is it 100,000? That's success. Even pleasure. For a vacation, do you go to Florida or do you go to Thailand? See how we keep looking outside to gauge success. Our focus this evening in our workshop is Vedantik secrets of success. The word Veda means knowledge or knowing. And Anta means inside. To know what's inside. And to share this in a simple way, it means deep thinking. What you're going to have for dinner is not deep thinking. The interest rate that you're getting or not getting is not deep thinking. Deep thinking is, what's inside of you? Who are you? And when one practices deep thinking, one comes to realize that success is not external, success is internal. When you're happy, it doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. And when you're unhappy, it doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. So what is success? Happiness. The way that we're going to flow into these secrets is being guided by Acharya Shankara. Again, I know my audience. He's from Kerala. Again, everyone smile. Yes, he's a, a son of our land. In Acharya Shankara's texts, like Tattvabodha, Vivek Ji, he begins by sharing what is known as the sadhana chatushtaya, which means qualities one needs to be successful. And that is the framework that we're going to use to tune into success. Okay? And as was shared, if anything I'm sharing is too complex, too much Sanskrit, then make a note of it. You will get at least 15 minutes of time to seek clarification. Okay. Do you remember the last time you applied for a job? The last time you applied for a program, suppose it's school? Any sort of application. The application is essentially asking, who are you? And the first portion begins with, who are you physically? What is your age? How tall are you? Yes? Especially when it comes to visas or traveling. The second portion of this application relates to the mind. What sort of education do you have? What unique experiences have you gone through? And the third portion is about your intellect. What is your belief system? What makes you special? So every application is really revolving around the body, mind, and intellect. The first secret to success is Dhamma. D-A-M-A. In English, this means calmness. Calmness. And I feel I don't have to explain that, but to give you an extreme example, you know those boring announcements before a plane takes off? Buckle your seatbelts. If oxygen is low, the mask will fall down. And in that small pamphlet, it says, if the plane is losing altitude or there's a fire, it doesn't say freak out. It says stay calm and carry on. That's a popular saying in London, stay calm and carry on. This calmness relates to the body, calmness of body. When your body is calm, that means you are using your body as an equipment. When your body is not calm, then that equipment is using you. Do you like it when people use you? Of course not. And many of you live in the Toronto area, the London area. It's winter for 2/3 of our year, yes? When you're losing control of your car because of ice, that is a very scary experience. You've all had that happen. See how when an equipment uses you, that's frightening. Calmness of body, and I'm going to share a way to really bring this to life. Walk. Every day, you should go for a walk. Ideally, by yourself, ideally in the morning, but forget about those details. Just walk. By walking, you're exposed to the sun, you're exposed to the air. We're so trapped behind our screens, correct? When you could go to the mandir, you used to drive, get out of your car. Now we don't have a reason to do that. Walking helps with our blood pressure, helps with I think it's vitamin D. And I think we're all vitamin D deficient. Walk. This is a catalyst to calmness, calmness of the body, which is a catalyst to success. Now, deeper than this is titiksha. T-I-T-I-K-S-H-A. Titiksha. In English, this means endurance. This is a second secret to success, is endurance. Many reports are coming out. These are two humorous observations. One, and for those who know how to use Zoom in the chat, what product is very low in sales due to the health crisis that the world is going through? Now that you're schooling from home, working from home, what are people not buying?
Yes.
Sure. And again, in the chat room, everyone can stay muted. That way no one's distracted. It is gum and mints. And that shows that people are not so concerned about how their family members feel about their breath. And a related observation is that divorces are growing. Because typically we're at home with our family, say 5 or 6 hours a day. Now it's 15 or 16 hours a day. And that can be annoying. Yes? I'm politely saying can be annoying. You're all interpreting is annoying. But you have to endure that. Why? Wherever there's diversity, your spouse is diverse. Your parents are diverse. Your kids are diverse. Wherever there's diversity, there will be differences. Differences in how much pickle to mix with the curd rice, whether to eat curd rice, correct? There's differences. And one who doesn't endure feels like they are in control of that other person. Now, for all of the adults who have a lot of experience, do you control anyone? No, we barely control ourselves. And if you can't control it, endure it. Not enduring is really not an option. You either be annoyed or you endure. Which one is more efficient? Which one would lead to more happiness? Titiksha. This is still at the body level. How to do this every day? Chant. When someone at home, when anyone is bothering you, you chant Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om. Because if you don't, you keep thinking about what's annoying you. And the more you think about it, the more annoying it becomes, correct? But if you can purge that thought by bringing in a thought of the divine, then all of a sudden, it's almost like you're ignoring them, but you're not ignoring them. They're still who they are, but you're not bothered by that. Dhamma, calmness of body. Titiksha, endurance of body. Number 3, the third secret to success, we deepen to our mind. We go on to Shama. Shama is quietude of mind. When a mind is quiet, the mind is the most powerful equipment for you to experience pleasure, possession, position. If your mind is agitated and you have an awesome dessert in your fridge and you take that out and you're eating it, do you taste how awesome it is? No, because you're agitated. Okay, shared differently. Suppose you've built a new theater room in your home and a few people come over and they don't praise how awesome your theater is. All of a sudden you're agitated. What's the point of that theater room, correct? What a waste of an investment. A quiet mind is an organized mind. And you know you're organized when you start letting go of, reference, Swami Chinmayananda has explained that there are 3 thieves of our peace, 3 thieves of our success. In the chat room where you can type and people can interact, what do you think these 3 thieves are? Thief number 1, and you can share. This is a good practice for you. Regrets of the past. Last week, my wife Sheila and our 2 sons, Vyasa and Shuka, we had gone to Sheila's parents' home. They live in Mississauga. We live in Niagara Falls. And for whatever reason, we were just less organized. So we forgot a lot of things in Niagara Falls that we should have brought to Mississauga. And it was a challenging time there because we didn't have this or this or this. And it's not that we regretted it, but we felt like we're just disorganized and we were agitated because of that. So now when we leave the home with any child, we have a huge list. Is this here? Is this here? Is this here? No regrets if the mind is organized. How can the mind be organized? When it's quiet. The second thief is anxieties of the future. And that is so evident right now. Anxiety levels are high around the world, in Ontario. When one has quietude of mind, one is organized, then they try their best to manage tomorrow, manage the next week, the next month. And that's all they can do. So they don't have anxieties then. And the third thief is excitement in the present. When you meet someone new and they're saying, Namaste or hi, my name is Priya or my name is Joseph. And they just said it. But perhaps you're too excited in the moment and you forget their name, correct? How? They just said it. Too much excitement. We're not paying attention. So then it becomes very awkward, correct? You still refer to, hey, you. Or you have to tell someone to ask them their name and report back to you. So quietude is encouraged by being organized. And how we can really bring this to life is plan. The more planning oriented you are, the more you use lists, the more you use planners, the more organized your mind will be, the more shama you'll bring into your life. That's the third secret. And then this builds up to the fourth secret, which is samadhana. Samadhana is Samadhana. There's a lot of A's in Sanskrit. I think banana is a Sanskrit word. Canada is also a Sanskrit word. Samadhana in English is focus. Focus of mind. So quietude of mind, focus of mind. How many of you would describe yourself as distracted? You're just a generally distracted person. What did you say? Some of you don't have your hands up and you should have your hands up. I know you well enough that you are distracted. And us putting our hand up, and I know you're being honest here, but there's a sense of complacency there, or an excuse, because a distraction is a distraction if you are distracted. A distraction is not a distraction if you're not distracted, right? Is WhatsApp a distraction? It is, but it doesn't have to be. Right? Are Indian news channels a distraction? They certainly try to be, and many succumb to that, but it doesn't have to be. When you're focused on your responsibilities, in Vedanta we call this dharma. When you know your dharma, you're following this, you're furthering this, then you're not distracted. And there's a lot of repercussions, a lot of negative ramifications of being distracted. I'll explain. If you're distracted, this is the cause, the effect is comparisons. And all humans struggle with comparisons. I sometimes find that this is especially the case of those of Indian origin. specifically with our kids. We keep on comparing one kid to another kid, how I parented my kids, what another kid is doing at school, who they got married to. Distraction leads to comparison. What does comparison lead to? First, and this is very temporary, a superiority complex. But finally it settles as a inferiority complex. So you feel jealous or envy, as has been shared. Comparisons always lead to jealousy, and jealousy devolves to insecurity. For one who's focused, they don't go down this path. We observe this a lot in society. What does FOMO stand for? FOMO stands for the fear of missing out. But you have that fear because you're distracted, correct? But once one's focused, samadhana, then FOMO evolves to JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. I'm enjoying my responsibilities. You should be enjoying yours too. A very lovely and powerful scripture, Katha Upanishad or Kathopanishad. Many of you would be listening to Swami Tejomayananda's talks on these that are public. A young boy, his name is Nachiketa. He approaches Bhagwan Dharma or Bhagwan Yama. Those are synonyms. And Yamaraja is quite pleased with him and says, you can ask for whatever you want. And Yamaraja even entices him and says, I will give you the Gandharvas, the Apsaras, the celestial singers, the celestial dancers. And what does Nachiketa say? You keep your song and dance to yourself. Give me the truth. No FOMO. I only want the truth. I have no fear of not having these. Here is how to bring this to life. And before I tell you, I need to know how focused you are. I've given you 3 verbs to bring these 3 secrets to life. What was the first verb? All in English. Every day you should walk. That's right. Number 2, every experience you should chant. Number 3, every day you should plan. And here's number 4. Every day you should awake. Now, you're all thinking, I already do that. Perhaps. Awaking means you get up before 6 a.m. If you get up after 6 a.m., then that's not called awaking. That's called being a nisachara. Do you all know what a nisachara is? In Ramayana, Tulsidas Ji says, Nishayam charati iti nisachara. The ones who wander around at night, they're rakshasas. They're ghosts. See, if you sleep late, you're going to wake up late, correct? So when I say awake, it means in that period of the day between 3 a.m. and 9 a.m., but really it should be 6 a.m. I shouldn't have told you that. Yeah, 8:59, I get up, I awake. That period of the day when the environment is most conducive to focus. Everyone is sleeping. The stock market is closed. You're not hungry. You can focus on what's important. Number 5. 2 secrets for the body. Dhamma titiksha. 2 secrets for the mind. Shama samadhana. So what are we missing now? What's number 5? Come on, Vedanta students. Uparama. Number 5 is Uparama. U-P-A-R-A-M-A. Uparama in English means understanding. Understanding. What is one difference at a subtle level, at a deep level, between animals and humans? Animals live by instinct. If you go to the Toronto Zoo and you see a tiger eating a deer or some sort of flesh, you don't judge that tiger for eating that flesh, right? You don't say, hey, why don't you eat a carrot? There's a Brussels sprouts. I eat Brussels sprouts. Why don't you? Because they live by instinct. That is their nature. Humans have the ability to live by intention. You can eat the steak or the Brussels sprout. The tiger can only eat the steak. That's what separates us from animals, is intention. One who understands, they're more prepared. And my mind goes to an example of basketball. In basketball or any sport, there's this sense of field vision. One who's an intentional player knows the intention of another player or players, which is why they're very good at stealing the ball from the opposite team or passing the ball to their team. They're clearer about that. They're more prepared. LeBron James is an excellent example of that. He's an intentional player. In a deeper way, the difference between karma and karma yoga is the intention. Why are you doing what you're doing? And uparama is this understanding where you put in the effort to develop this intention. And there's so much success that comes with this, because the more you understand yourself, the more you understand others. Agreed? Experience holds a lot of weight when it comes to uparama. And here's how we can bring this to life. Listen. Now, when we talk to each other, we talk at each other, not to each other, correct? So much of our communication is debating. It's not about understanding. But if we listen, all the things someone is saying will understand it, and all of the things they're not saying will understand also. Active listening. For those who speak a lot or speak fast, this is hard for you. It's our habit to interrupt, correct? Don't your kids tell you you have selective hearing because you keep interrupting them? But they do too. They keep interrupting you. Nobody listens anymore. Listen. Today in Niagara Falls, myself and Sheila and Shuka, our younger son, we went to the Black Lives Matter protest. And there was a lot of people there. It was quite powerful and moving. And one of the cars that was driving by was playing a very explicit song about the current president of the United States. And when I think of the current president as compared to the former president, I much prefer to hear President Obama speak than President Trump. And I'm not even focusing on the content. Forget about that. One way to be a strong public speaker is to be a strong public listener. The more you listen, the more you're able to speak in an effective way. And so now, what is the final secret? What have I not covered? And this is the most difficult. The most important also, Shraddha. Shraddha is S-H-R-E-D-D-H-A. In English, this means faith. Faith. Why I'm sharing this is most important. If you don't have faith in yourself, you cannot have faith in others. Put more simply, if you're not a friend to yourself, you will never be able to be a friend to others. You have to have it to give it, correct? Faith in oneself. And this is the most difficult, the most subtle, because you can't instinctively develop faith by yourself. You can marginally develop this, but unshakable faith only comes when this is given by one who has unshakable faith. When we were studying in our ashram, and Swami Tejomayananda asked us, how do you become a bhakta? How do you become a disciple? And we all came up with our answers. And he finally said, when you live with bhaktas, when you live with disciples. Only one who has unshakable faith can instill that faith in you. This is the preciousness of the Guru Shishya Parampara, and how fortunate Kerala is that Swami Chinmayananda is from Kerala, Swami Tapovanam is from Kerala, Acharya Shankara is from Kerala. Here's how to bring this to life. This is your sixth verb. Revolve. Revolve around those with faith, and that will rub off on you. And if you're looking to the person sitting next to you and they're actually decreasing your faith, then read the words of those who have faith in themselves and in you. As Mahatma Gandhi has shared, my life is my message. So if you read about his life, you're really reading what his message is. The word Bhagwan, complete with one more thought, and then we'll shift into a practice. The word Bhagwan for us is quite esoteric. Like Bhagwan Guru Vayur. We think of Bhagwan Narayana, Bhagwan Krishna in this small form in a large mandir. Bhagwan is the one who is bhagya. Bhagya means fortunate. And bhagya, or fortune, is having any or all of these virtues. If you're one who has quietude of mind or one who has focus of mind, then you have bhagya. You are closer to Bhagwan than any physical proximity can bring. This is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma, is that Sanatana Dharma is accessible. Until I started studying Sanatana Dharma, I found this to be inaccessible. Now that I've started studying and speaking on this, is most accessible, we have access to being successful. These 6 practices, these 6 secrets, any of us, all of us can try, can develop. In one satsang, I felt this was an inspiring satsang. So at the end, I said, we can. And everyone there said, we can. I said, we must. Everyone said, we must. This is a famous saying of Swami Chinmayananda, we can, we must. And then Swami Tejomayananda added, we will. So I said, we will. And a young man in the front goes, we wish. It's we will, not we wish, okay? With these thoughts complete, we'll engage in a brief practice, because I always speak more than I want to, in quietude. So now, the best way to practice this is for you to lie down on the ground on your back, okay? I know some of you are already doing this because your cameras are off. So if you want to do this, that's great. If you don't, be comfortable in whatever way you're sitting. Close your eyes. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Breathe out through your nose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Begin to watch your thoughts like you watch a movie. In a movie, you watch characters talk and move. Watch your thoughts in the same way. There's a positive thought. There's a negative thought, so that's a negative character. Now try to find out where these thoughts are going. A thought comes into your mind about something you have to do tomorrow. As you watch this, where is this thought going? Does it go into the brain? Does it go into the future? Does it go into nothingness? Keep watching. Keep being present. Deepen your observation. Find out what a thought is made of. What is the material that a thought is made of? Is it a cell? An atom? Keep being the sakshi, the witness. Breathe in deeply through your nose. As you exhale, gently open your eyes. Have a seat again. How do you feel right now? Do you feel quieter? And if you do, I hope you do, isn't that not even what you want? Isn't that what you need? And where did it come from? Did it come from your job? Did it come from your bank? Did it come from your fridge? This came from you? Okay. Now we continue to any questions you have. And I will read the ones in the chat, and Smita will speak out the ones over Facebook. So let me start with one of them in our chat, and then we'll go back to Facebook. Any advice or exercises to practice to bring consciousness to the Atma and not be pressured by the transactional world? How can I work successfully and work towards better outcomes, knowing this is all for our Atma? Whatever is important to you, you will direct time to. That is a very simple observation of your life and my life. You will make time for what's important to you. So make Atma. And Atma may be a technical term, so change this to Ananda or joy. Important. And when you make this important, you will not be as bothered or annoyed by the transactional world. Because you know the transactional world is functional, yet your nature is fundamental. So the importance is given duly. This is relative, this is absolute. And one more, use time as a parameter. All of us struggle with time. Many have shared with me now that they're at home, they have less time. I find that with myself. Before I would have to drive to Brampton to come and speak, so it would be harder for me to say yes. But now I just sit here and I have to speak. I'm finished with you for 1 hour. I have to put our son to bed. Then I have to speak again for an hour. So what I do is I use time as a parameter when it comes to speaking, exercising, cleaning, sleeping. That way, I've regulated how much time I'm giving to the functional, and I'm most definitely setting aside time for the fundamental. Use time as a parameter, and I did share that Shama is developed by planning. Okay, Smita, you can share a question from Facebook, and then I'll come back to the next question in the chat.
Okay, Vivek Ji, there's one I saw on Facebook on live here. Can Vivek Ji briefly elaborate what it means to invoke the Lord as we pray? Does that mean we are awakening something in us? Please elaborate on that.
Sure. What does it mean to invoke the Lord? This is a most relevant question. Where does the Lord reside? Where does God live? Point to me where God is. Some don't know, some are saying above. But the best answer, which some of you are showing, is yourself. As long as the mind is agitated, we externalize God in an idol. And as long as God is in an idol and not in you, you will be afraid of God. In Sanatana Dharma, the foundation is not to have fear of Bhagwan. We are not a God-fearing religion. But many of us, we don't study our scripture or shastra, so instead of focusing on the ideals, we focus on the idols. When one quietens their mind, you do feel that divinity inside of yourself. That's what invoking is. That's what prayer is. Anything, any verb that leads to long-term, independent quietude. Please note, long-term. Short-term, then sleep. I'm awesome at praying. I sleep, or I pray many hours a day. And independent. That means not drugs, not alcohol, not shopping, but from within oneself. This is what invocation or prayer means. And in a most simple way, Acharya Shankara shares this in Shloka 427 of Moha Mudgara. Shripati Rupama Jasram, which means one should contemplate on the form of Bhagwan Narayana. And here contemplation means you should remember a different virtue of God every day, a different one. Courage, compassion, discipline. Because the more you remember that, the more you will practice that. You will be quieter and you will feel that Bhagwan Vishnu lives inside of you. You are Bhagwan Vishnu. In the chat, in Acharya Shankara's text, Bhajagovindam, he talks about the importance of money, health, etc. But it is with the understanding it is not us doing it, but in the same of Bhagwan. This is something I would like clarity on. Bhajagovindam, or Moha Mudgara, the focus of this text is not to compartmentalize our life into money, health, family, friends. Because if you compartmentalize, there's no possibility of Advaita or oneness. The way Swami Tejomayananda shares this, he says, see life as a whole and live a whole life. No compartments. I meet hundreds of evolving adults, those who are in their careers and in their relationships, who are either happy at work and unhappy at home, or happy at home and unhappy at work, and they're okay with that. And I asked, how are you okay with that? Because we box it. But that's really lying to themselves, because if you're unhappy at home, don't you carry that to work? If you have stress at work, doesn't that come out at home? There has to be that holistic, integrated vision. And one more point about this. When Acharya Shankara references money, health, etc., he's saying that these are the means and not the ends. Dharma, artha, kama are to serve moksha. Only peace is the ends. The rest is simply the means. Smita, back to you. Any other questions?
Yep, there's one question I see on Facebook Live. So Vivek Ji spoke about intention. How do we practice to always have a positive, evolving intention and not a negative, devolving intention?
Sure. Number one, the company you keep will undoubtedly influence what your perspective is or your attitude. I'm sure you've caught yourself. If you're a positive person and you're having a discussion with a negative person, all of a sudden you start to speak negatively too. And as soon as you're out of that conversation, you feel like, wow, I'm not like that. What happened there? It was that influence. So if you're around people who are always reacting like animals, then you'll be the same way. And if you're around people who are responding like humans, you will be the same way. Secondly is slow down. We often read that we're living in the period of Kali. Kali means fast. All that happens in our life is fast and we want it faster, correct? If I take too long to answer your question, you start typing 2 more questions. Within fast food, there's fast food. Yes, it's compounded. So there's no time for thinking or intention. But if you slow down, sleep earlier, wake up earlier, eat slower, focus on quality friends rather than quantity friends, you'll be much more aware of when you're devolving and evolving. Slowing down is huge for self-development. Here's the next from the chat. What's the difference between endurance and just bearing with something reluctantly? They seem like 2 different attitudes. Please elaborate. That's right. Endurance is built with cheer. In Sanskrit, this is known as prasada, or cheerful acceptance. Whereas bearing something, the result is the same, but there's no cheer there, correct? And we tend to be very casual with our language in this regard. I can't think of the word, tolerate, right? Religious tolerance. My wife and I are going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary soon. And suppose I tell her, for 10 years, I've tolerated you. That is not going to be a healthy day or year, correct? But if we change that to respect, mutual respect, religions, people, then that's so admirable and loving. So titiksha is cheerfully enduring because I know diversity, difference, no control. Whereas bearing, you don't accept the differences. There's still that sense of control. And so you may not say anything, but undoubtedly you're thinking it. And eventually you will say, why are you like this? Okay, I will take one last question. Smita, do you have any more questions?
None from Facebook Live, Vivek Ji. The last question is indicated on the Zoom chat, and that's your only question for the night.
Good. What strategies can we employ to use Shama? Very quickly, I'll tell you. Try to understand Shama as coordinate. Coordinate the mind. And this is like a zip file. Coordinate starts off as concentrating. Whatever you're doing, concentrate on that. If the mind is agitated, temporarily bring it to the here and now. Imagine there's a rope tied between your head and your hands. The second strategy is chant. This is more midterm. And the best strategy is contemplate. These are negative thoughts. I will not focus on them. And these are positive thoughts. I will focus on them. This is how Shama comes to life. The last questions I don't have time for because I want to be respectful of the forthcoming programs for the Monday. Thank you for this opportunity. I've met a lot of you in my life. There's many I've not met. And I hope that we won't be strangers. So I am all over social media. If you search Acharya Vivek or Chinmay Mission Niagara, you'll find lots of webcasts, podcasts, and so on. So let's keep on interacting with each other. And I'll chant Om once, I will finish, and then our organizers can continue. Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Vivek Ji. 1,000 thank yous for this session, and how great, indeed how blessed we are for Vivek Ji's presence. Thank you so much. Okay. Now we will go forward to the temple for Deeparadhana.